you should pay everybody? Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
Deep debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered mayors.
What happens when a so-called super mayor starts losing her grip on power? Surrounded by scandal and drama at every turn. Buckle up, because that's exactly what's going down with Mayor Tiffany Henyard. And trust me, it's getting messier by the day. From explosive board meetings to secretive legal teams, Henyard's world is unraveling fast, and the whole town is watching as it all comes crashing down. Get ready to dive into this wild tale of power, betrayal, and, well, a whole lot of lawsuits.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith?
What started as what seemed like a minor scuffle at a public board meeting quickly escalated into something much bigger. You know those tension-filled public gatherings where everyone tries to stay civil, but the air is thick with discomfort? Well, that's exactly what happened when an attorney, once close to Henyard, decided to spill some major tea. And it wasn't just any gossip. He exposed shady dealings behind the scenes, hinting at corruption and the misuse of power. Henyard's inner circle was starting to crack, and it didn't look good. The room was left stunned, and the chaos that followed set the stage for what would become a very public unraveling.
We knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, yeah.
Exactly did the attorney reveal. The details are still a bit murky, but from the hints that have surfaced, it seems Henyard has been making some moves that aren't exactly above board. Corruption, misuse of funds, and questionable decisions are all part of the story now. Hurry! Once loyal allies are starting to distance themselves from the sinking ship, as it becomes clear that staying too close to Henyard could drag them down with her. It's the ultimate betrayal. And trust me, it's not going unnoticed.
A one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is,
the fallout from that meeting didn't stay contained in the room. It sparked a firestorm of accusations and growing public scrutiny surrounding Henyard's leadership. Former supporters are now questioning everything. Why is she making decisions that seem to benefit herself rather than the community? What's she hiding? And perhaps most importantly, how long can she keep up this act before it all comes crashing down? That betrayal was the tipping point that shifted public opinion, transforming Henyard from the once powerful super mayor into a leader desperately clinging to whatever scraps of control she can still hold on to.
You can adhere to some financial limits. We're not looking to...
People are starting to take notice, too. Rude, arrogant, and condescending, Henyard needs a timeout. One user perfectly captured the frustration that's been building for months, and they're not wrong. Henyard's leadership is being questioned from all sides, and her excuses are no longer cutting it. The meetings have become so chaotic that attendees can barely speak without her trying to shut them down. When public figures start avoiding transparency, you know something's seriously off. But the issues don't stop at the meetings. Her legal troubles are piling up faster than anyone expected. Rumors are swirling that Henyard is quietly assembling a defense team, and for good reason. Lawsuits are popping up left and right, many accusing her of financial mismanagement. People are starting to ask the obvious question: where is all the money going? But no one seems to have a clear answer, and that's a major red flag.
Voices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions, and so it's not about clickbait, it's about...
To add fuel to the fire, Henyard has been spotted with some unfamiliar faces at these public meetings. Yep, you guessed it, criminal defense attorneys. They've been seen sitting right next to her, which only raises more questions. Is Henyard preparing for something big? The speculation is that these lawyers are getting ready to defend her against what could be serious criminal charges. When you start seeing criminal defense attorneys at a local board meeting, You know things are heading in a bad direction. The community is catching on, and they're not happy about it. She wants no accountability for anything she's clearly involved in, but still tries to act like she's the boss of everything, one observer noted. The frustration is palpable. Henyard's efforts to maintain control are starting to look more like desperate attempts to save face than genuine efforts to clear her name. She's losing credibility fast, and the community is noticing, but it doesn't stop there. The lawsuits aren't just about allegations of corruption. One of the biggest scandals involves the denial of a business license to a local entrepreneur, and it reeks of political motives. Tyrone Isom Jr., the owner of a local barber shop, invested both time and money into purchasing and renovating a property, only to be denied a business license with no clear explanation. This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a bigger pattern. Henyard's administration has been accused of making licensing decisions based on personal or political gain rather than following the usual rules and regulations. In most cases, business license applications are straightforward. You meet the necessary criteria, like zoning laws and safety regulations, and you're good to go. But not in Henyard's world. Isom's case is a prime example of how things go wrong when the process isn't followed fairly. Instead of being given the chance to fix any issues with his application, he was simply shut out. No questions asked. This has left people wondering, was this really about public safety? Or was Henyard making moves behind the scenes for her own benefit? The lack of transparency here is troubling, and it's just one more piece of the puzzle revealing the bigger picture of corruption.
Has investigated Henyard's use of a police security detail, taking officers off the street and costing.
It's not just the business community feeling the effects of Henyard's questionable leadership. The broader public is starting to speak out in a big way. People are fed up with the chaos surrounding their leadership, and many are demanding more transparency and accountability. Frankly, public trust is at an all-time low. As more details about Henyard's administration surface, it's becoming clear that her days in power might be numbered. At recent meetings, Henyard's confrontational style has only made matters worse. She's refused to take responsibility for any of the accusations against her, often deflecting questions with vague defensive answers. When asked about the business license controversy, she provided no real explanation, choosing instead to blame the system and sidestep any direct involvement. It's the kind of response that only fuels suspicion. If she had nothing to hide, why not just come out and say it? Even Governor J.B. Pritzker has been asked about the growing scandal surrounding Henyard, and while he didn't go into specifics, his response was telling. He kept a diplomatic distance, stressing the importance of integrity and transparency in public office. But here's the thing. When a governor has to remind people about the basics of good governance, you know something is seriously wrong. Pritzker's refusal to directly comment on Henyard's legal troubles speaks volumes. It's almost as if he knows what's coming and doesn't want to get too involved. Behind the scenes, there are rising concerns about how Henyard is managing, or rather mishandling, the community's finances. Reports suggest that the township's finances are in disarray, and with multiple investigations already underway, it's likely that more dirt will surface in the coming weeks. Federal authorities are reportedly looking into Henyard's spending habits, and if the rumors are true, the results won't be pretty. Appointment. That's what the trustees I've spoken to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps. Some residents are already jumping ship, realizing that aligning themselves with Henyard could have serious consequences. They don't want to get caught up in the growing legal mess, and honestly, who can blame them? There are simply too many lawsuits, too many accusations, and way too many unanswered questions for anyone to feel comfortable staying on Henyard's team right now. In the end, it's clear that Henyard's once solid power base is crumbling. The combination of legal troubles, public dissatisfaction, and increasing scrutiny from higher authorities is creating a perfect storm, one that Henyard might not survive. As each new lawsuit emerges and more accusations pile up, her credibility continues to erode, and the community is beginning to demand change. Henyard's leadership has been defined by controversy, and it's only a matter of time before she's forced to face the consequences of her actions. So what's next for the supermayor? Will she manage to hold on to her position, or will the ever-growing pile of lawsuits and scandals finally bring her down? As one resident put it, there must be deals happening right now. And honestly, that seems like the only explanation for how things have gotten so out of hand. One thing's for sure. Henyard's days of flying under the radar are over. The spotlight is on her, and it's not going away anytime soon. As more people call for her resignation, it's becoming increasingly clear that her time in power might be coming to an end. The big question now is, how long will it take before she's forced to step down? And when she does, who will step up to clean up the mess she's left behind? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain. This drama is far from over. Will Henyard face legal consequences, or will she somehow manage to hold on to her seat? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for more updates on this unfolding saga.